Slaking is a normal type Pokemon that first appeared in the 3rd generation of the Pokemon games. It is known for its incredibly high base stat total, which makes it one of the most powerful Pokemon in the game. Slaking's physical appearance is similar to that of a large gorilla, with brown fur and a bulky build. It has a sloth-like demeanor, often seen lounging around and sleeping, which reflects its ability Truant. This ability allows Slaking to attack only every other turn, making it a difficult Pokemon to use efficiently in battle. The ability was meant to nerf how powerful Slaking was, especially since in the Hoenn games, you can get its base form before the first gym. Slaking, however, does have some very powerful attacks, such as Focus Punch, Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, Earthquake, the same type attack bonus return, Flamethrower, Brick Break, and if we want to, Giga Impact, since every other turn we loaf around anyway. But however, the TM is locked in the game corner for 20,000 coins, which would cost us around 400,000 Pokédollars, so we're probably not going to use this. However, despite this awful ability, can our great stats and TM Learn set help us get a great time in Pearl? Let's find out and get into this. Upon starting the run, we start with the moves Scratch, Yawn, Encore, and Slack Off. Scratch will be an effective 60 base power normal type move with 100% accuracy, which is good since it would suck so much if the one turn we had to attack resulted in a miss. Yawn is a 100% sleep move, but it takes 2 turns to activate, so we may not use it too much. Encore just locks the opponent into the last move it used. I can't think of many places this move will help, so I'll be replacing that as soon as possible. The final move, Slack Off, is just another version of Recover, so at least we have a recovery move. But if I waste my 1 attack turn to heal, I'm open to even more attacks, so it may not be as useful as you may think. I also went with the Adamant nature, which is plus attack and minus special attack. We'll mostly be relying on physical moves, so this was the best nature to go with. With the beginning info done, let's continue with the run. I let Lucas show me how to catch a Pokemon, defeat the trainers on Route 202, and enter Jubilife City. The first thing I do is go to the trainer school, not only to deliver the parcel to my rival, but I also defeat these 2 trainers with Abra, who after I defeat them, will give me the TM for Hidden Power. Our Hidden Power today is Grass, since without this move, it will be way harder to take on Rourke. Since look at our level up moveset, we would have to be level 19 to learn Feint Attack to deal neutral damage. But this is Pearl, so we get early Hidden Power, which I'll take. After that, I head east to Orberg City, where I'm stopped by my first rival battle. This fight is quite easy with my powerful Scratch attack. However, during my loafing turns, the Chimchar gets off a ton of leers to try and make its own scratches do more damage, but I get a lucky crit at the last minute and I win the battle. After the rival battle, I defeat everyone on Route 203, Orberg Gate, and the Orberg Mine, and I get Rourke back to his gym and then use the free escape rope in here to get out, and then I head to the gym, take out the gym trainers for free XP, and then I take on Rourke. With Hidden Power Grass, his Geodude and Onix are easy 1-hits, while the Cranidos is a 2-hit. However, our ability Truant means no matter what, we are going to get hit. Thankfully though, our defense and HP stats are quite phenomenal, so we resist his attacks very easily, and I get the Coal Badge with a time of 14 minutes and 10 seconds. Not a bad time since battles are now taking twice as long as before thanks to Truant. Before I leave Orberg City, I buy my usual repels, antidotes, paralyze heals, and potions, and then I head back to Jubilife City, help Lucas take out Team Galactic, and I go through Route 204. I skip the trainers here since unlike most games I play in the series, I will get the Versus Seeker, so I can just grind later for more XP rich trainers if I need to. Upon entering Floroma Town, I get the Cherry Berry and Oranberry here in case I need them, take on Team Galactic at the Windworks and the Honey Guy, get the key to enter the building, fight one more grunt to get to level 15, which is a damage rounding threshold to deal tons of extra damage, and then I take on the Galactic Commander, Mars. Her first Zubat has Toxic, which would be absolutely devastating if it hit, but Slaking's great attacking power prevents it from ever using it. And next is Purugly. The thing is, this thing is a tank and can hit like a truck, and even though I had an Oranberry equipped for this fight, which did activate, I win this fight in red health, which shows how badly this ability can hurt Slaking. After this battle and how close it was, I fight every trainer on Route 205 and the Eterna Forest along with Cheryl, and I make it all the way to Eterna City. The first thing I do upon entering the city is go to the gym. I don't need to use the center since Cheryl healed my team before leaving the forest, and once I take out Gardenia's gym trainers, I can take her on in a battle for the second badge. She leads with Cherubi. I have the Cherry Berry equipped in case I get stun spored by the Roserade. I use Scratch on Cherubi and it lives in the red, allowing it to remain alive for way longer than necessary, but it goes out in time. The same with Turtwig as well. Now the final Pokemon is Roserade. This Pokemon is what has Stun Spore, plus the special move Magical Leaf. Special defense is Slaking's worst stat, but I get a very lucky critical hit Feint Attack to take out the Roserade in one hit, and I get the Forest Badge with 0 resets so far with a time of 32 minutes and 33 seconds. We're not done with Eterna City yet. We still need the Explorer Kit, which is banned in my runs but I need it to progress, the HM for Cut, and the Bicycle. But before we can get the Bicycle, I enter the Galactic Hideout and take on Commander Jupiter. Her Zubat, just like Marza's Zubat, is very easy. However, her Skunk Tank has Smokescreen to reduce my accuracy, and that opens up the opportunity to poison me or hit me with its stab Night Slash. However, I then realized Feint Attack skips accuracy checks, kinda like Shockwave and Swift. So when I remembered that, I started using that move instead, and I defeat Jupiter on the first try. Although I will say, in low yellow health while poisoned, that's a trend I'm not really starting to like. With all that stuff done, I go down to Cycling Road, try my best to skip the trainers, since at the end of the path Lucas gives me the Versus Seeker, which I'll definitely use later. The next part would be to go through Mount Coronet to get to Hearthome City, but first I go back to the Orberg Gate. If you have Rock Smash in the bike, you can go to the bottom floor to get the TM for Brick Break. This move is going to be super useful at the third gym, so let's get it while we're here. Once I get to Route 208 outside of Hearthome City, I go in the grass to find a B-Barrel for Surf, Strength, Waterfall, and Rock Climb. However, I may need to think of something else to catch for those. I just realized during the run, B-Barrel on this route in Pearl is a 10% encounter, while in Platinum it's 20%. So I think it may have been better to catch a Psyduck and then something else for Rock Climb later. I'll do some research into that for the next video or live stream I do in Pearl. You can also comment any ideas if you want. One thing I'm thinking of right now as of recording this script is probably catch a B-Barrel in the Great Marsh, since I go in there anyway to get the rare candy, and it's probably a much higher encounter rate, but I'll do some research. Once I finally catch a B-Barrel, I enter Hearthome City, talk to my mom at the contest hall, and before I leave Hearthome to the next couple of towns, I take on Rival 2. He starts with Starly, even though it could be a Staravia. I start off with the move Slack Off since I forgot to heal, and then I use Feint Attack to take out Starly. Next up is Monferno. He has the priority fighting move Mach Punch, but it does barely anything to me, as a Brick Break takes it out. His next two Pokemon, Buizel and Roselia, are very easy Pokemon to take down. Although Roselia did paralyze me, I guess that's better than Poison. On Route 209, I take on the mandatory double battle with the twins, and then I enter the Lost Tower. This place is mandatory in Pearl, but not in Platinum, since in Pearl, this is where you get the HM for Strength. I also get the TM for Return here to give Slaking one of its most powerful attacks. Then, in the Solacean Ruins, I get the rare candy that is here, and since Slaking is in the slow level up group, we need all the rare candies we can get to minimize training. And after I escape rope out, I go through routes 210 into 215. and before I can enter Veilstone, I take on Ace Trainer Maya and Dennis. Dennis can be quite difficult since he has a Monferno and a Gyarados with Thrash, but due to Slaking's great bulk and HP, even this fight was not a struggle for it. Now we're in Veilstone City. I heal at the center, defeat all the trainers, solve the puzzle, and battle head to head with Maylene. She leads off with Metatite, which is a one-hit, and then during my recharge turn due to Truant, Machoke takes a good chunk of my HP with Brick Break, and then on Lucario it uses Metal Claw, which does barely anything, and I was going to use Brick Break for the one-hit, which is what I hoped for, but then it follows up with Drain Punch for the knockout, so that's my first actual death. I decided to grind on some trainers so I can one-hit the Machoke, or at least have the money for the Silk Scarf since I spent all my money on potions. But then I get a reset on the Psychic on Route 214 since her Ghastly used Curse on me. I decided instead to use the Versus Seeker to rematch Ace Trainer Dennis. Not only is he great experience due to Gyarados, I can also get the last few thousand Pokédollars needed to buy the coins for the Silk Scarf at the game corner. With this item, Maylene's Machoke is now a one-hit with Return, so I won't take any unnecessary damage from it. And then on Lucario, just like I predicted earlier, it is a one-hit with Brick Break, allowing me to get the Cobble Badge with a time of 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 44 seconds. The next gym is down in Pastoria City, but before we can go there, I help Lucas get his Pokédex back, get the HM for Fly, teach it to Starly, and I go all the way through routes 214, the Valor Resort, and 213 into Pastoria City. I get the Person Berries in case I need them, buy plenty of Super Repels, and then I get the rare candy on Route 212 in the mud, and then in the Great Marsh I get the HM for Defog, and then the hidden rare candy in the top leftmost corner of the marsh. With those goodies in my bag, it is now time to take on Crasher Wake. Since I now have Shockwave taught over Brick Break, I used it on Gyarados, and I was very surprised when I saw this, but Shockwave is not a one-hit on Gyarados. That is usually never the case, but Gyarados can't do too much to me. Next up is Quagsire. This was the reason I kept Hidden Power this whole time, to deal 4 times effective damage since my Hidden Power type is Grass. The final Floatzel I go ahead and use Hidden Power on, since it is 10 base power stronger than Shockwave. And then I get the Fen Badge from Crasher Wake with a time of 1 hour, 19 minutes, and 3 seconds. This isn't a great time so far, but it's still a good time nonetheless. With half the gyms done, I chase this Team Galactic Grunt out of town, and before I can catch up to him, I, against my own will, take on Rival 3. He still leads with a freaking Starly which hasn't evolved yet, so that was an easy Pokemon to take down, although a Staravia would also have been easy. Next up is Monferno. It does try to use a Leer followed by Mach Punch, but even with that combo, Slaking lives the entire battle in the green, so nice try, Rival, nice try. While I chase down the Grunt, I have the Resort guy heal my Pokemon, take out the Galactic Grunt, and talk to Cynthia to give me the secret potion, which I can use to cure the Psyduck to gain access to the foggy area of Route 210. I have Defog, so I don't have to worry about not knowing where I'm going. And while I'm here, behind these rocks is the TM for Shadow Ball. Since I no longer have Feint Attack, this will be my go-to move for the Ghost Gym coming very soon. I get a tour of the Celestic Town ruins, talk to Cyrus, don't battle him since that's only in Platinum, and then Cynthia's grandmother gives me Surf. We can't use this without the Relic Badge, so it's time to head back to Hearthome City and take on Fantina. She leads with Drifblim. I use one Shadow Ball for over half damage, it uses a weak Gust, and then while I'm loafing around it uses Minimize. I was getting worried about constant misses, but I still managed to knock it out thankfully. However, on Mismagius, it uses Confuse Ray to confuse me, and that becomes the cause of my death. On the next try, I have the Person Berry equipped, it's a good thing I picked it up, so when Mismagius uses Confuse Ray, I'm able to eat my berry and move on to Gengar. I need to heal, so I use Slack Off. Poison Jab doesn't do too much, and then the next move Gengar uses is Spike just to reduce the Slack Off PP, which I'm quite fine with as I use Shadow Ball to take out Gengar to get the Relic Badge for a time of 1 hour, 28 minutes, and 24 seconds. With the ability to use Surf outside of battle unlocked, I get the rare candy on Route 214 along with the Citrus Berry just in case, go to the Windworks to get the TM for Thunderbolt and the Max Elixir for later in the run, and then the rare candy on Route 218, and then I enter Canalave City. Before I can take on Byron, the Steel-type gym leader, it is time to take on Rival 4. He leads off with Staravia this time, and I use Return for the knockout. Next up is Heracross. This thing has quite high base defense, as it is able to tank a Return, and Retaliate with Brick Break does huge damage. And then once I knock it out, Monferno is able to deal a critical hit Mach Punch for the reset. I have a solution for the Heracross I didn't think of in routing. I go back to Route 213 to get the TM for Aerial Ace, so now I can deal 4 times damage to it for the one hit without getting hit more than necessary. I can also use Aerial Ace for super effective damage on Monferno too. I level up to level 38, which is good for damage rounding, and then on the Buizel, I use Slack Off to heal my HP back up since it was getting dangerously low, and I use Return to take out the final Buizel and Roselia. I realized I didn't have a good move to take on the Steelix here since my original plan was to get Earthquake from the Wayward Cave that is blocked by Strength Boulders, and then I finally realized it's Byron's badge that lets me use Strength. I thought it was Wake's badge for some reason, so I decided to go to the department store to buy the TM for Focus Blast. This was honestly a bad idea. I should have gotten the TM for Flamethrower at the Fuego Ironworks. I did think of that strat a bit later, but for now though, with Focus Blast in hand, it is time to take Byron on in battle. He leads off with Bronzor, which is super defensive, although its attacking capabilities are quite crappy. Once that is knocked out, I can take out the Steelix with one Focus Blast, which luckily doesn't miss. His final Pokemon, Bastiodon, is 4 times weak to fighting moves, and on the one turn it had to attack, it just used a turn 1 rest. Dude, that is such a red and blue Blaine strat. I used Focus Blast, actually land the 70% accurate move for the one hit, and I get the Mind Badge with a time of 1 hour, 41 minutes, and 10 seconds. Professor Rowan, along with my rival and I, and Lucas talk about the legendary Lake Trio, and then we hear an explosion at Lake Valor. We all split up to check the lakes, but funny enough, I actually forgot to go to Lake Valor, as I just went straight away to Celestic Town to go to Snow Point City. On Route 217 in the thick snow, I get the final HM for Rock Climb and make it all the way to Snow Point City. I heal at the center, refuel my Super Repel supply, solve the ice puzzle, which is actually different than in Platinum where it's easier, and I take on the ice leader, Candace. She leads off with Snover, which sets up a permanent hailstorm. One Aerial Ace takes it out. I then use Aerial Ace on Medicham. It somehow lived, but luckily the hail takes it out. Then her following Abomasnow uses Swagger, and I end up hitting myself in confusion for the reset. On the next try, I at least make it to Abomasnow without being paralyzed from Medicham's Force Palm, but it doesn't really matter as my Swagger luck is just so bad. Despite Abomasnow missing so many grass whistles in an attempt to put me to sleep. The game was trying to give me the win anyway, but I still get my second reset. I won't show the next 4 or so failed attempts. I have a solution. I finally go to the Fuego Ironworks to get the TM for Flamethrower. If I had thought of this a long time ago, Byron would have been way easier with a 100% accurate move. Plus, I may have first tried Candace. As you can see with this move, the Snover and Abomasnow are 4 times weak to fire, and they are both easy one-hits, and then Candace's final Pokemon Sneasel is just quite bad, and one Flamethrower takes it out, and I receive the Icicle Badge with a time of 2 hours, 6 minutes, and 53 seconds. After this gym, I head to the lake and realize Jupiter is not there, and this is when I realized I forgot to go to the lake. so I head there to take on the Galactic Commander Saturn. He leads off with Kadabra, but to be honest, his biggest threat is his Toxicroak. On it only uses a pathetic feint attack, and I use a super effective Aerial Ace. The next commander is Mars at Lake Verity. She has a Bronzor now, along with her Golbat and Purugly. Her Golbat is a one-hit with Return, and Flamethrower makes great work of her Bronzor. Her final Pokemon Purugly uses a feint attack for minimal damage, and one Return does the job quite nicely. Okay, now I can go to Lake Acuity, witness my rival losing to Jupiter, probably to Skuntank Smokescreen spamming, and then I can take on the Galactic Hideout in Veilstone. Some highlights are me grabbing the rare candy in here. There are 2 of them, but I think I forgot to get the second one. And then I head to the top and take on the boss of Team Galactic, Cyrus. He leads with his Murkrow, which is a one-hit with the power of friendship, and along with Murkrow, his Golbat and Sneasel also just go down to the power of friendship too. Cyrus tells me I can go free the Lake Trio, but before I can do that, I have to take on Saturn again. Just like before, his team is not difficult at all for Slaking. Although his Toxicroak does confuse me, with the wrong luck it can result in quite devastating damage, possibly a defeat, but we persevere and win the battle on the first try. I free the Lake Trio, fly to Orberg City, use the center, and enter Mount Coronet. While I climb to the top, I get the hidden rare candy in the part of the mountain that's full of grunts that goes back to the Celestic Town entrance, and then I get the second rare candy inside this little boulder here. With those candies obtained, I get to Spear Pillar, take out the Galactic grunts blocking the entrance, and then Cyrus summons Palkia, and I have to stop him. But first, we gotta take on Mars and Jupiter with help from the rival. I send out Slaking, and my rival sends out his useless Munchlax, while Mars and Jupiter lead with Bronzor. I decided on turn 1 to immediately take out the Munchlax and send out something better, so my rival sends out Infernape, which can deal great damage to the Bronzor. This fight does take quite a long time, not only due to Slaking's Truant ability, but also Mars and Jupiter having a total of 6 Pokemon. So after a while of spamming whatever moves I have at my disposal, and letting my rival do whatever he wants pretty much, I can get my Pokemon healed by my rival, and I have to take on Cyrus right away. He sends out Honchkrow to start off the fight, and I use one single return for the knockout. Next up is Weavile. This Pokemon is not only faster than me, but also has Brick to deal devastating damage, which knocks me out. This loss hurts so bad since in Pearl version, if you save and then lose to Cyrus, you have to fight the commanders again. So let me just do that real quick and get back to Cyrus. When I get back to him, I try to use Return on Weavile instead, and ends up defeating Weavile in one hit. Okay, I should have done that in the first place. On his Gyarados, I used Thunderbolt, which I taught over Aerial Ace. I forgot to update my moveset in the overlay, but do know that it is there. Once the Gyarados is gone, his final Pokemon is Crobat, which does know Confuse Ray. This is also quite scary, and Crobat can't survive a return. Then, on the last minute at 21 HP left, I snap out of confusion and heal my HP back up, and I'm able to avoid flinches from Air Slash, and then I paralyze the Crobat. I'm only at 45 HP left, so I cannot afford to get hit. And then I get the Pug 25% chance to be paralyzed and not attack, so I can attack and win the fight. Jeez, this is way easier in Platinum, since at least you can save before Cyrus. Now that Team Galactic is done for good, at least until the next Sinnoh episode, I teach Earthquake over Flamethrower, which I got from the Wayward Cave after getting the 6th badge. I head over to Sunyshore City, talk to Volkner to get him to go back to his gym, and then I take him on for my final badge. He starts off with Raichu, which is annihilated with one single Earthquake. The next Pokemon is Ambipom. I just use Return on it also for the one hit. Next up is his Luxray. I need to be careful as this Pokemon has Rivalry, which boosts its damage by 50% against Pokemon of the opposite gender. Once that's taken care of, his final Pokemon is Octillery, which I use Return on, although it lives in red health. I did originally try Thunderbolt, but I figured Return would be more powerful, but despite me being paralyzed, I'm able to first try Volkner and complete the gym challenge for a time of 2 hours, 44 minutes, and 56 seconds. That is honestly quite a slow time, but we still have the Elite Four to go through, so let's see how it goes. I go through Route 222, defeat some trainers along the way, heal at the center, and enter the Victory Road. I have to be a minimum level of 70 after rare candies to take on the Elite Four, mostly due to Lucian and Cynthia, so I take on necessary trainers in here for the experience, especially since one of the trainers here has a Blissey. I also grab the hidden rare candy here, along with the visible rare candy in a small secluded room. And then after I defeat all the trainers, I'm level 56 and have 12 candies, so I need 2 more levels before I can use them. But I decided since the level is needed for the end of the Elite Four, maybe I can take on the rival and get the experience that way. So let's face the rival one last time. He starts off with Staraptor. Intimidate cuts my attack by 1 stage, but Thunderbolt's a special move and it takes it out just fine. Next up is Heracross. I use Return on it, but Heracross lives in the red thanks to Intimidate, but I end up taking it out after quite a bit. Then on Infernape, it survives an Earthquake and I get knocked out. Okay, maybe I should be the higher level for the rival too. So I looked up the best place to versus Seeker grind, and according to GameFAQs, I decided to grind on the Fisherman just west of Sunyshore City, since some of them have Gyarados and give decent XP. Once I get to level 58, I use my 12 rare candies to get to level 70, and with that level achieved, I'm able to get past the Infernape with 1 Earthquake, along with Return for the rest of his team for easy 1-hits. And now, it's time to take on the final 5 trainers. Let's do this shit. On Aaron, I use Return to 1-hit KO the Dustox, and then on Heracross I loaf around and get hit with Megahorn, and once I'm able to move, Return does the 1-hit knockout. Vespiquen, Beautifly, and his final Drapion are all no match for Return either. Slaking is just that powerful despite its ability. On Bertha, she starts off with Quagsire, who decides to use Protect and wastes my 1 turn doing nothing before loafing around. But once Quagsire is down and Sudowoodo comes out, I can use Return on that as well. The next Pokemon Golem is easily taken care of with 1 Earthquake. Wishcash I'm worried about since it does have Rock Slide, but my physical bulk is so good, plus I still have Slack Off to heal my HP back up. And then on Hippowdon, it uses a Stab Earthquake for massive damage, and I was starting to get worried. Luckily, it instead went for Stone Edge, which allowed me to live, but then the Sandstorm brings me down even further. I needed the second Return to KO, and it did. So I actually first try Bertha. And before you ask, the leftovers are locked into the post-game section of Victory Road, so I can't use it. On Flint, I use Earthquake on his Rapidash. Next up is his last Fire-type Infernape. 1 Earthquake also takes it out, although Mach Punch does do a decent amount of damage. On his Lopunny, since it is generally quite weak, I use Slack Off to restore some HP for the coming Steelix. Then unfortunately, Steelix's Fire Fang burns Slaking and my physical moves are doing next to nothing, so there's my first reset in the league. On the second try, I make it all the way to Drifblim, but not only it burns me with Will-O-Wisp, it also sets up Minimize, so I'm unable to take it out in time before the burn gets to me. On the third attempt at Flint, same freaking thing happens along with attempt number 4. It wasn't until attempt number 5 I finally defeat Drifblim. Sometimes the Diamond and Pearl Flint can be harder than Platinum, since in Platinum everything he has is a fire type. I could just spam Earthquake or Surf on everything. On Lucian, the plan is to sweep with Return. The Mr. Mime and the Medicham are easy to deal with. Then when the Alakazam comes out, it does a lot of damage to me with Psychic, so I use the opportunity on Girafarig to heal my HP back up and I take it out. The final Pokemon is Bronzong. I use Thunderbolt on it and it does only a quarter of my HP. I was being dumb. I should have used Return due to my much better attack stat, but I pay the price for my bad decisions and I get a reset. This fight ends up taking me 6 tries, as you can tell by the reset counter, but I did finally defeat the Bronzong. With only Cynthia left between me and victory, let's take her on and finish this run. She starts off with Spiritomb. I use 2 Earthquakes to take it out while it goes for Psychic. Next up is Lucario. Luckily it doesn't use Aura Sphere and goes for Earthquake, and then I can take it out with my own Earthquake. The Garchomp does have Brick Break, but it didn't do as much as I thought it would, and neither did Earthquake either. And then when it used Giga Impact on me, I used the Recharge turn to heal myself back up. And then once Garchomp is out, I knock out in one hit with return the final Gastrodon, my Milotic, and Roserade, and Slaking has beaten Pokemon Pearl with a time of 3 hours, 29 minutes, and 26 seconds, and a game time at the Hall of Fame of 8 hours flat. This Pokemon was quite hard to plan around due to its ability to only move every other turn. However, its great bulk and attacking power definitely made up for it. However, since the battles technically took twice as long with Truant, and with a time this high, Slaking is last place on the leaderboard, behind Staraptor and Charizard, but it definitely could have been worse. I don't even want to imagine how Slackoth would perform in this game. Anyway, please like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more. Also, please join my Discord server or support me on Patreon or YouTube memberships. Links are down below. Because pretty soon, I'm going to be including bonus content in my videos for members or patrons. Those should hopefully be coming really soon. If not though, likes and subscriptions are good enough for me. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next speedrun.